Peace, family, Black Power, and Black Survival. Peace, Black Power, and Black Survival. That's what time it is. Whether you're a warrior, a fighter, or not, a pacifist, whatever you are, need to be thinking along the terms of preparation and readiness and the times ahead, as well as the present state as well. But the whole point is that I'm coming to stress is preparation, and at least having it on your mind. At least having it on your mind. Okay? And being aware that anything is possible. Being aware that anything is possible and liable to jump off. And with that, I'm not going to continue to elaborate. I'm going to share some very important information. At least I feel that it's important. So I'm just going to put it out there. And I'm going to read and share some information from one of the greats and one of the legends in revolutionary history. Okay, coming from Ernesto Che Guevara. Okay, coming from Che. Right, so, and Che, he got down. He went all the way over there to the Congo. Went over there to the Congo. He traveled the world trying to link with trying to link up and get things done and spread the knowledge and the information. And so that's what I'm on, spreading the knowledge and the information, whether you get yourself as a guerrilla fighter or not. The vital thing in it is information. So I'm just gonna go ahead and share some things and just elaborate on the guerrilla fighter and how vast a role the guerrilla fighter plays, whether it's physical, mental, or spiritual. All of it is warfare. All of it is warfare. Okay, and it's very vital and important. I have another video out there. It's called Energy, Supreme War Strategy. If you haven't listened to that video, you want to find that video titled Energy, Supreme War Strategy. Okay, coming from the chapter, you'll find this where I'm coming from in chapter 2, titled The Guerrilla Band. Okay, chapter 2, The Guerrilla Band. Very good chapter. And I have some things, just a few things I'm going to share, but you do have the book title as well as the author. So to do further research, if you want more, you know where to go and get it. Okay, that's my whole point. One of my points. And yeah, always good to let people know where you're coming from, give references and things like that, and doing so aids them in their study. And a couple of people I know that is real great doing that. Seven-star General Sarasu said he's great at doing that. The elder and master teacher Bobby Hemmitt, most definitely great at doing that. Okay, and even the Brother Polite is exceptional at doing that. You know what I'm saying? I haven't looked at much of his stuff, you know what I'm saying, but I have looked at a lot of it. He has such a vast body of material out there because he's, you know, the brother is able to produce, and he's prolific because of you know, just the volume of information that you know, he commits himself to and that he consumes. But you know, but he's on point as well at doing that, so that's very good. You know, so make sure that the leaders that you listening to is doing that, because that is vital and that's important. And it also shows a spirit of selflessness and not just wanting to be put on a pedestal, you know, because they're saying, because they're giving credit where credit is due, and that doesn't come from a spirit of avarice, but that is born out of a spirit of wanting you to cultivate yourself and giving you the chance to so-called, you know, even possibly do better or greater things than them. Okay, moving on. The guerrilla fighter, social reformer. I'm not reading these chapters or pages entirely. It's going to be excerpts or snippets from the pages, so just want you to be mindful of that. We have already identified the guerrilla fighter as one who shares the longing of the people for liberation, and who, after peaceful means are exhausted, initiates the struggle and converts himself into an armed vanguard of the fighting people. From the commencement of the struggle, the guerrilla is committed to destroying an unjust order and has the intention, more or less hidden, to replace the old with something new. Alright? Our brother and also ancestor, you know, may he rest in power, General and Dr. Khalid Muhammad always defined revolution as complete constructive change. Complete constructive change. But the guerrilla fighter, as the conscious element of the vanguard of the people, must display the moral conduct of a true priest of the desired reform. To the stoicism or the coolness or the reservation forced by difficult conditions of warfare should be added an austerity born of rigid self-control that prevents a single excess, a single slip, whatever the circumstances. The guerrilla should be an ascetic, meaning the guerrilla should be reserved, he should be self-contained, he should be controlled, he should not be wasteful, he should be economical and resourceful. Basically, the guerrilla is thrifty. You know, he acknowledges and recognizes the value and importance in whatever he has, rather it's much or rather it's little. Recognize the value and importance of what it is, you know, that you have. Okay? No time to be wasteful. No time to be you know, continuously wasting money on bling and stuff, rims and stuff. You know, we are really in a time of war, and every single dollar, every single cent, you know, needs to be accounted for and maximized and utilized towards something that is resourceful and beneficial, potentially, rather now, immediately, or down the line. Alright. The peasant must always be given technical, economic, The peasant must always be given technical, economic, moral, and cultural assistance. The guerrilla fighter will be a kind of guardian angel who is dropped into the zone, always helping the poor and harassing the rich as little as possible in the first phases of the war. But as the war develops, contradictions will become sharper. The time will arrive when many of those who regarded the revolution sympathetically at the start will place themselves in a position diametrically opposed to it, and they will make the first move into battle against the popular forces. At that moment, the guerrilla fighter should act to become the standard bearer of the people's cause, punishing every betrayal with justice. Private property should acquire a social function in the war zone. In other words, excess land and livestock not essential for the maintenance of a wealthy family should pass into the hands of the people and be distributed equitably and fairly. Right? We're seeing a lot of that today. People who was once diametrically opposed to it, we're seeing them becoming active today. Meaning, basically, many people's eyes are becoming open. Many people's eyes are becoming open, and more people are trying to become actively involved. Okay? Ones that we didn't think would be operating and moving how they are today, you're now seeing them become active. You know? Okay? Such as in the Black Lives Matter movement and these other passive resistant movements. All that's part of the struggle, and many more eyes are becoming open and more people are becoming aware. But once that happens, okay, and that motion and that stirring is there, then the vanguard of the people, the guerrilla fighter, is supposed to come with the real in-depth information to really show how vast and deep just the tentacles and the roots stretch of white supremacy. Because more than likely, the ones who are just awakening, even though they are acting, but they are reacting, so more than likely they're scratching just the surface. They're scratching the surface, okay? But the underlying cause and motive and the real psychology of the forces that they visualize themselves opposing must be made clear and revealed. You see what I'm saying? They have to be guided beyond the superficial. Alright. So the guerrilla warrior or the guerrilla fighter is also an educator. Is also an educator. I walk around and I try to disseminate a lot of information. I do disseminate a lot of information, rather. And I come across a lot of people. And you may be surprised at how many people that you come across, and when you're speaking to them, they agree with what you're saying, and they say, brother, I know this. I'm up on this. I know this. But they're not doing anything with what they know. It doesn't go beyond themselves. And that's then when I explain to them, brother and sister, we need more like you out here. You see what I'm saying? Just as the earth, when it is struck by the light, it rotates. And we as a people, when we claim to be enlightened or in the light, right? When you come into new knowledge and you claim to be set afire, you move. We move. We are a micro microcosm of the macrocosm, meaning of the larger earth. I say we are so-called small earths, and our bodies operate the same way. When you is truly touched by light, you move. This is an earth spin. When the sun strikes it, you rotate. You know what I'm saying? You come in contact with some fire, you get hit by some fire, and it hits you, you move. You move out. Okay? So it is what it is. Trying to keep this brief because it's a lot of stuff. Trying to keep each explanation and commentary brief because there's a lot of stuff in here that I want to get out there. The life and activities of the guerrilla fighter as sketched in general outline demand a range of physical, mental, and moral qualities needed for adapting oneself to prevailing conditions and for completely fulfilling any assigned mission. The guerrilla combatant is a night combatant. To say this also means to say that he or she must have all the special qualities that such a struggle requires. The guerrilla must be cunning and able to marshal combat across plains and mountains without detection, and then fall on the enemy, taking advantage of the factor of surprise, which must be emphasized again as so important in this type of fight. After causing panic by this surprise, the guerrillas shall launch themselves implacably into the fight, never permitting a single weakness in their compañeros, companions, brothers, sisters, and taking advantage of every sign of weakness on the enemy's part, striking like a tornado, destroying everything, giving no quarter unless the tactical circumstances demanded, judging those who must be judged, sowing panic among the enemy combatants. The guerrillas nevertheless treat defenseless prisoners benevolently and show respect for the dead. Well, family, we're going to avoid that part because at the state that we is in, this late in the game, 2015, and the level of intensification that this thing will hit in and take, family, we're not even at the tip of the iceberg. So, you know, we ain't got time to be on that POW type stuff and think about no treatment or no POW. Okay, only thing we thinking about is winning. We ain't on the babysitting tip. Alright? Ain't no babysitting going on. Alright? Your ass is on the wrong side, your ass is on the wrong side. And that's it. So, that is what it is. That's not our fault. That's not our fault. You dig? Because babysitting, monitoring, and everything else, nah, that ain't going down. No responsibility on that. Guerrilla fighters should risk their lives whenever necessary and be ready to die without hesitation. But at the same time, they should be cautious and never expose themselves unnecessarily. All possible precautions should be taken to avoid defeat or annihilation. Okay, what I'm saying is, hey, you are who you are. And as long as you know who you are, it don't matter what the next person think about you. You just know who you are, be firm and resolute in who you are, and the left hand don't need to know what the right hand is doing, and the right hand don't need to know what the left hand is doing. Okay? Only speak and reveal yourself to those who you are confident in and trust. Okay? The biggest weapon that you have, family, is unsuspectability. The biggest weapon that you have, family, is unsusceptibility, meaning not being suspected. Okay? That's the biggest strength and the biggest weapon you have, is not even to be suspected. So, for lack of a better word, a sense of humbleness in a sense. Okay? A sense of humbleness in a sense. I believe family understand what I'm saying on that. Nevertheless, the guerrilla fighter should be audacious, and after carefully analyzing the dangers and possibilities in the action, always ready to take an optimistic attitude towards circumstances and to see reasons for a favorable outcome, even at times when the analysis of the adverse and favorable conditions does not appear to be positive. Right? The first war, family, and the first battlefield is in the mind. Visualization, mindfulness is very important. Okay? So visualize, see yourself being successful. See yourself overthrowing and conquering. Believe in yourself. You must have belief and confidence in yourself, no matter what, because the belief and confidence and the state of mind that you have, it determines your spirit and affects your energy exertion. It affects your output. It affects your performance. Okay? It's just like, hey, if you get ready to go into the game, football game, basketball game, soccer game, whatever it is that you was involved in, your mental perception and the image that you have in your mind, because the mind affects the body, so it will affect your performance. Okay? Cannot have a defeatist mind. Cannot have a defeatist mind state. To be able to survive in the midst of these conditions of struggle and enemy action, guerrilla fighters must have a degree of adaptability that allows them to identify themselves with the environment in which they live, to become a part of it, and to take advantage of it as an ally to the greatest possible extent. The guerrilla fighter also needs rapid comprehension and an instantaneous ingenuity in order to be able to change tactics depending on the course of action. Okay? These faculties of adaptability and inventiveness in popular armies are what ruin the statistics of the warmongers and brings them to a halt. Besides the moral qualities mentioned, the guerrilla fighter should possess a range of very important physical qualities. The guerrilla fighter must be indefatigable, able to produce an additional effort when exhaustion seems unbearable. Profound conviction, evident in every facial expression, forces the guerrilla to take another step, and this not the last one, since it will be followed by another and another until the place designated by his chiefs is reached. The guerrilla should be able to endure extremities, to withstand not only the privations of food, water, clothing, and shelter, to which they are frequently subjected, but also the sickness and wounds that often must be cured by nature without much help from the surgeon. This must be so because many times the individual who leaves the guerrilla zone to recover from sickness or wounds will be assassinated by the enemy. But generally, the maximum age of combatants in the totally nomadic stage of the guerrilla struggle should not exceed 40, although there can be exceptional cases above all among the peasants. Okay, black people, we age gracefully, biologically, and physiologically if we are taking care of ourselves. So I urge and encourage everybody to take care of themselves, get their mind right, get your body right, mentally exercise. Marcus Garvey says in this book, The Message to the People, he encourages us to read 4 hours a day. I know some of us that may not be plausible or doable, but read as much as you can. Start out with 30 minutes, work your way up. If you ain't used to reading or gleaning information at all, then small increments. Get you a page or 2 here and there. You get you a page or 2 here and there. You could possibly knock out a book, depending on its size, within a month to probably, 3 months. 2 pages a day, that's 60 pages a month. Hey, anywhere to start. Mentally, spiritually, and physically, we must train. Each of those areas, mentally, spiritually, and physically, they have muscles. They have muscles. You know what I'm saying? And the more that you utilize those different areas, the stronger you become in those areas. You build those muscles. Okay? So, and that's how that must be looked at. All of that training is very, very vital. Most definitely the wind. Got to have your wind right. Got to have your lungs right. Got to have your heart right. You know what I'm saying? We need stamina. Because sometimes the saying is true. Sometimes the victory don't go to the swift, but to those who endure. Okay? The best age for a guerrilla fighter varies between 25 and 35 years. A stage in which life has assumed a definite shape for most people. An individual who sets out at that age, abandoning their home, children, and entire world, must have thought through their responsibility and made a firm decision not to retreat a step. There are extraordinary cases of children who have reached the highest ranks of our rebel army as combatants, but this is not common. For every one of them who displayed great fighting qualities, there were dozens who should have been returned to their homes and who frequently became a dangerous burden for the guerrilla band. Not going to be able to move forward with everybody. As much as we want to. As a black people, we are righteous people by nature, and we love trying to see the best in people, and that's great, But at the same time, we know we're not going to reach everybody, we're not going to save everybody. We know everybody's not going to move forward. Some people will be left behind. Okay. And basically, the stage that we was in 2015, and as we move deeper into time, just like it says in the Bible, sometimes you gotta let the dead bury the dead. Okay? Because the worst kind of weight to pick up is dead weight. That's the worst weight to have. What's the worst weight to try to pick up is dead weight. Moving up, moving along. People with such outstanding commitment and firmness must have an idea that sustains them in the adverse conditions we have described. Guerrilla fighters eat when they can and anything they can. Sometimes fabulous meals disappear down combatants' gullets. At other times, they fast 2 or 3 days without reducing their capacity for work. You know, family, I'm vegetarian myself, but the reality is, if I gotta survive, I will eat a pork chop. As much as I don't want to, you know what I'm saying? But it's about survival. You see what I'm saying? So at times, I'm just pointing out, we got to be radical. We got to be rational. We got to be logical. We have to be reasonable. You know what I'm saying? Yes, I am vegetarian. You know, and over 90% of the time, I'm vegan as well. But being logical and rational, it's about survival and carrying on. You know, so after you get through the struggle, then you can return back to practicing whatever dietary guidelines that you adhere to or follow. Okay, but other than that, if I got to eat the pork chop, then I'm gonna eat that baby. You know what I'm saying? Sustain myself and move along. Okay. So the whole point is, we just got to be reasonable and logical in this. Okay? Can't be rigid. Can't be rigid. This we talking about survival. Talking about survival, family. Okay? The equipment of the guerrilla fighter is divided into the essential and the accessory. Essential means things that you must have. Accessory means, okay, it's good to have it, but it's not absolutely necessary. You know, the equipment of the guerrilla fighter is divided into the essential and the accessory. Among the first is a hammock. This provides adequate rest. It is easy to find 2 trees from which to hang it, and in cases where one sleeps on the ground, it can serve as a mat. Whenever it is raining, the ground is wet, a frequent occurrence in tropical mountain zones. The hammock is indispensable for sleeping. A piece of waterproof nylon cloth complements it. The nylon should be large enough to cover the hammock when tied from its 4 corners and with the line strung through the center to the same trees from which the hammock hangs. The last line serves to make the nylon into a kind of tent by raising a center ridge and allowing the water to run off it. Okay? Some of y'all thinking like, damn, a hammock? Hey, it could possibly get that serious to where you may have to flee. It may get that serious. We have to anticipate all of this, you know, because it's very possible for America to head into what we could call a second civil war. It's very possible, and I don't know why people. I'm gonna explain this. I'm just gonna say this: the world as we know it, or life as we know it, is not fixed. It is not fixed. You see what I'm saying? We are subject to the same things that happened yesterday, meaning it is not fixed. Some of us think society is fixed and you can't revert and go back. But we are still subject to the same rules, the same elements, the same possible states and conditions from which we emerge. Retrogression is very possible. We're no different than other past nations. No different. Okay? And life as we know it is not fixed. It's not fixed. Okay? So anything and all things are possible. Okay? Since guerrilla fighters carry their homes in their backpacks, the latter is very important. The more primitive types may be made from any kind of sack carried by 2 ropes, but canvas backpacks found in the market or made by a harness maker are preferable. The guerrilla fighter should always carry some personal food besides that which the troops carries or consumed in his camps. Indispensable articles are lard or oil, which is necessary for fat consumption, canned goods, which should not be consumed except in circumstances where food for cooking cannot be found, or when there are too many cans and their weight impedes the march. Preserved fish, which has great nutritional value. Condensed milk, which is also nourishing, partly because of the large quantity of sugar it contains. Something for the sweet tooth. Powdered milk, which is also easily transportable. Sugar is another essential part of the supplies, as is salt, without which life becomes sheer martyrdom, and something with which to season the meal, such as onion, garlic, etc., depending on what can be found locally. This completes the list of the essentials. Alright, a small notebook and pen or pencil for taking notes and for letters to the outside or communication with other guerrilla bands should always be part of the guerrilla fighter's equipment. Pieces of string or rope should be kept, as these have many uses, along with needles, thread, and buttons for clothing. The guerrilla fighter who carries this equipment will have a solid house on their back, rather heavy but furnished to ensure a comfortable life during the hardships of the campaign. Okay. It is very important to maintain discipline in the camp, and this should have an educational function. The guerrilla fighters should be required to go to bed and get up at set time. Games that have no social function and that damage troop morale and the consumption of alcohol should be prohibited. All of these tasks are performed by a commission of internal order elected from those combatants with the greatest revolutionary merit. Okay, so basically, one of the things I'm going to put out, you have Mao Zedong. Mao Zedong, I'm not worried about people's opinions on Mao Zedong, but Mao Zedong, he recognized one of the first things he did was had a cultural revolution. Anything that potentially had an impact on a person's mind, okay, it was very, it was scrutinized, okay, and he was very, very, very keenly aware and sensitive about what was viewed, what was read, what was allowed to be in a person's possession. And it's basically how they spent their time. Basically how he spent their time. He knew that the nation could not be built with the reception of certain information, okay, and he knew what information was necessary in order to reinforce the morale and the spirit and condition the minds of the people to build a nation. So always be mindful of what it is you are entertaining. We want to try to be useful and worthwhile and valuable as possible. Okay, we want the information to be applicable. Information needs to be applicable. Okay? So, in a lot of our homes, in a lot of our communities, we need a cultural revolution. We need a cultural revolution. Okay? That's very vital. That's very vital. we as an African people or black, so-called black Americans, cultural revolution is very important. We need a cultural revolution. Okay? So anybody who has a tidbit of knowledge that is revolutionary or could be reformatory, something that could really spark and open up the minds, don't hold that to yourself. Don't hold that to yourself, man. Brothers and sisters, start sharing that. You know what I'm saying? This return back to the principle of each one teach one. Okay? Because as you become more enlightened and you come into knowledge and you come into light, what you receive and what you have, it's not yours. It's not yours. You see what I'm saying? Of the knowledge, we are only a fiduciary of it. We are just a fiduciary or trustees. That's it. That's it. So, if you want more knowledge yourself and you want to grow, you see what I'm saying? You have to give it. You have to disseminate it and you have to share it. Because if the netter or the universe knows that you're not a good steward of what it is that you have, you can't be trusted with what it is that you have, then you will be cut off. You will be cut off yourself. You will be cut off yourself. So, remember, each one teach one. Cultural revolution, baby. Cultural revolution. Pass it on. Alright. During night marches, silence should be even stricter and the distance between each combatant shorter, so that no one would get lost and make it necessary to shout or shine any light. Light is the enemy of the guerrilla fighter at night. Alright. One of the greatest elements of education is example. One of the greatest elements of education is example. Meaning, as an example, you can't be like how some parents may be with their children. You hear sometimes you hear some parents say the stupid saying, do what I say, not what I do. You see what I'm saying? Do what I say, but not what I do. Nah. Bad example. Bad paradigm. You see what I'm saying? The greatest example is education. So you have to make sure and strive every day to align yourself up with what you say. Basically, your word is your bond. Your word is your bond. Word is your bond. And don't ask of or require from somebody something that you won't do yourself. Basically, keep it real. Keep it real. Be who you say you are. Live what you talk about. Walk it like you talk it. Walk it like you talk it. Line yourself up. Be an example. Be an example. Because you have all types of communication. There's various different ways to communicate besides orally. That's why you have what is called body language. That is a form of communication. So realize and honor that communication is just not verbally words that come out your mouth. Communication is also an action. And action is communication. So we want to keep the message, the signals, and the communication consonant. Everything should be harmonious across the board. Okay? And with that, family, I'm gonna get ready to ride out. But no, I'm not doing too much talking. But I am gonna share, vital information. I'm gonna put out that vital information, okay? And alright, fam. And should have done this at the beginning, but for the record, I am Floyd Williams. Okay, and I'm the author of this book, The Holy Black Papyrus. And it's a good read, very excellent read. Okay, and I'm not just saying it because I wrote it, but I'm saying it because I went in this book and I was focused on the ancestors as I penned this book, and it also has a great foreword in the book from 7-Star General Sarah Seti of the Black Power Cartel as well. The book is available at on Amazon. Amazon is an ebook. Lulu, it's a hard copy. Okay. Those who are in the cities, in the Twin Cities area, St. Paul, Minneapolis area, you could go to Eat My Words Books in Minneapolis. Eat My Words carries the book. Mayday Books in Minneapolis has it. Subtext Books in St. Paul, Minnesota have the book. Okay, so but it is what it is. The Holy Black Papyrus. I'm the author of it. We want to support black scholarship, and most definitely want to support our own. Okay, but this is what it is, family. This is the book front and back, and it's a good read. I think it's and it's a slept-on piece of work. It's a slept-on piece of work. It really is. A lot of people have purchased the book and they love it. And some people who have purchased the book through Amazon have left wonderful reviews of it. So you welcome. I invite you to go to Amazon and check out those reviews. That was left. But anyway, though, family, Black Power, Black Survival, okay, and it is what it is, and everybody is important. Everybody is potentially important in this struggle and has a role to play, no matter how so-called small or large it is, because the goal is victory. The goal is victory. That's what it is. The goal is conquering. Okay, and my goal really, as a people, is for us to really, come together and get on building our own economy. Okay, and when I say economy, I'm not just talking about physically money as well, even though it does entail that. But it is what it is. Guerrilla warfare. Okay, warriors stand up. And that's where we come from. Warriors. That's who we are by nature. Warriors. Okay, we are fighters by nature. Okay? And hey, you calling on Amen at the end of your prayers and everything else, but you need to know Amen is a war deity. Amen is a war deity. Okay? Amen is a war deity. And we can learn a lot by looking at Amen. But one of the meanings of Amen also is seen and unseen. And that's how the warrior, the guerrilla fighter must be. Seen and unseen. Black power.